My name is Olivia and welcome back to my realm. So this is going to be a quick and dirty video. I am trying not to edit too much because I'm at the end of my own personal challenge going into the new year where I wanted to edit 12 videos in a mini kind of bookmas, but really talking about my bookish lifestyle. So relating to books, journaling, lifestyle content in general. So if you're into that, like and subscribe. That way we could talk more about it in the new year. But in general, that was a really big thing I wanted to do as a New Year's resolution. And I felt what better way to end this than talking about my 2026 financial goals, because it's centered around creative entrepreneurship, meaning things like this, uploading YouTube videos. So I wanted to kick that off and get started talking about some of the tools I'll be using. And I have notes literally scribbled on a piece of a napkin. So you know that this is just going to be pretty much raw and unfiltered. And I hope that you stick around and maybe get some inspiration for your goals in 2026. So the first thing I want to do in 2026 when it comes to resetting my financials under this creative entrepreneurship umbrella is to just master my budget. I am actually working with this Baddies and Budgets A5 planner, and I am also restarting my cash envelope system, which I can do a longer video about if anyone is interested. But essentially, I am repurposing my traveler system. In the one that looks like a library card, I am just tracking expenses in general. And then in the one that looks like a bunch of little travel signs for different cities and countries, I am actually tracking my wish list. I'll link it up in a card above and also in the description, but I did a video about how I'm doing a no buy, low buy in 2026. And part of my rules for that challenge is keeping a wish list. Part of this is not so I go out and buy all these things at the end, but to really see where my temptations are and where my triggers are to really readjust and reset my mind when it comes to spending. I have been doing this challenge, this no buy, low buy for 3 days now, and I have had 3 things I wanted to purchase. So now the great thing is I didn't go and buy them, so that's excellent, but it really did put in perspective already how much this challenge is going to test me, but also have great results in the end. Also, going off of that, I am restarting my cash envelope system. As you can see here, I love the color scheme of this. I don't know how much you can see of my walls, but they are chocolate brown in my hobby room. And I have a lot of pink like this chair. So that is really good. In the green, I just felt like went with it. So just going very quickly, I'm not showing my system and all the envelopes. And if you don't know what the cash budget system is, just really think of it as a way to physically manage your budget versus keeping buckets in a digital bank. You keep them physically. And I don't cash budget with my entire check. I have a mixture of a digital cash stuffing and then also physical. But basically how it goes is in the brown envelope is my fixed expenses. So I'm really trying to get a month ahead on, say, my mortgage, a month ahead on utilities, things like that, as well as creating an emergency fund. And then from there, my ultimate goal is to get a year ahead, if not more. So that's what this is, but not all of that is in there. I have just restarted. Then I have my green envelope, which is variable expenses. And I was kind of thinking of it like a tree almost, where the brown is like the trunk and the leaves that are ever changing are the green. I don't know. The writer in me was thinking that sounded poetic. But the green is variable expenses. That is things like credit cards, things that just vary. They don't have the same amount every month, and I don't always have them, right? Not that I always want to have my mortgage, but that's a fixed expense that if I don't pay it off earlier, will be 30 years, right? So I have things that I don't plan to have for 30 years, and that is going to be in this envelope. And then finally, this one is a really fun one. This pink one is actually like wishes and dreams. So kind of getting a little vulnerable here. I do hope to adopt in the future or go through in vitro. And so that is what I'll be saving in this envelope. Just more immediate dreams, going to Japan, going to Ghana, going to Korea, some of the places I've always wanted to visit, but haven't gotten to yet. And so this is just like a dream envelope, basically. Things that aren't pressing, but I just want to start sinking funds for in the future. So if you want to have more budgeting content in general, I am kicking around the idea of starting something called Books and Budgets, where I talk about stuff like this and link it to some of the financial literature and personal development books I'm reading. But for now, that is my main goal for 2026, and I have 6 of them, is to master my budget. Now, more on the creative entrepreneurship side, and basic creative entrepreneurship, it's just starting a business / running a business, but in the creative arts. So if you're a filmmaker, if you're a writer like me, if you're an artist, whatever the case, it's just running a business centered around those things. And so I have a goal at the end of this year, which is very intense. I want to make an extra $50,000 off of my creative endeavors. And so my second goal for 2026 in this financial reset is publishing 12 books in a year. Now, that is a very steep, but again, the word publish versus write, I have manuscripts that are not ready to publish, but are, written. They can get out there if I really buckle down and just lock in. And so I know that it's going to be difficult, but it really would not be impossible for me to publish 12 books in a year. Now, would it be 12 as in 1 book a month? No, that is not my intention. But really just kind of keeping an active flow of books coming out, because my royalties took a massive nosedive in 2025 because I wasn't publishing. And I don't have, huge back catalog nor huge readership. And so when I wasn't publishing, I wasn't making money. And so I really do want to get a system in place where I am constantly publishing, but not constantly writing. I am really publishing stuff that is already pre-written, scheduled, edited, and it's just really churning like a well-oiled machine. Kind of off of that same topic, as I look at my handy napkin here, I really do want to really focus on hopefully monetizing my social media. Part of this is a creative process, just the act of video making, editing it. I'm no, master filmmaker, but it is a creative endeavor. And so I really do want to monetize this YouTube especially. And so I'm trying to commit to publishing 2 videos a week for the entire year of 2026. Now, I tested it out by trying to get out 12 videos in 12 days. And once this gets up, that will have been successful. So I know it's in me, and I just really need to have a content planning day, which I'm going to work on setting in my bullet journal, and getting that ironed out. So just an example, say Friday night is when I record all my videos for the week. So my 2 videos that aren't super long, they'll probably be at max 15 to 30 minutes, and probably even shorter than that. Then maybe it's Saturday where I edit those videos and get them up scheduled for the week, right? Something like that, where it's not overwhelming, but I'm staying locked in and staying consistent, because consistency is a way to build trust in yourself. And I feel like, especially after I lost my job in 2024, and for a few years now, don't get me wrong, I've always had that issue, but it was exacerbated by a lot of life circumstances, the pandemic, everything. And I feel like the things I have to do now, like paying some people back from projects I launched and couldn't get done in time. It's just it's all because I hadn't built a foundational system that could weather any storm. And so 12 books in a year plus 2 videos a week is a lot, but it really is just me building that consistency, because to hit $50,000, that's just not going to come out of nowhere. So I really do have to ramp up my non-salary, my non-W2 paycheck. Going off of that, I really want to get into the bookish merch space. It's really huge right now, and I really feel like I want to start just a merch side of Crown Books, of my business, which, if you don't know, it's called Olivia's Realm on YouTube, but the tag on all my social media is Crown Books, because I am Crown Books, and so my lifestyle really is my business, if that makes sense. So with that, I want to launch, hopefully in February, it might be later, something I'm calling the Hopeful Romantics collection. And I want to start small. I want to release a Kobo Libra color, specifically case, like a kind of design, because I have a Kobo Libra color. I feel like it's a niche-er space than the Kindle designs, and I won't have a bunch of variations to deal with, because even Kobo has a bunch of different e-readers. So I want to make a little little case design, I want a sticker, and then I want an art print. And I want to launch that both on my website, but also probably on Etsy too, so I can get some eyes on it. So part of that sub goal, I guess, is to make sure that I also have my website back up, but one thing at a time. Then I bounced around on this, and I am actually going to land on sell 500 bookish items direct. I was originally going to say 500 books direct, which means someone coming to my website versus Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, all the places I publish, your local library even, like coming to me directly to purchase my work and my merch. And I was going to say books. Again, I think it's inclusive of bookish merch. I really want to just hit that 500 goal. I was actually pleasantly surprised how much people were willing to buy my books. I have a couple of them up here directly when I was doing that. And so I feel like it's more known and accepted to buy directly from authors. And I really want to hit an aggressive goal with that this year. Now, for some authors, 500 is a walk in the park. But for me, I think the most I've ever sold direct in a month is maybe 10. Something around there. So that would actually be a very aggressive goal for me. So let me get my cat out the way. So something a little more exciting and different versus the hard hustle of creative entrepreneurship, but feeding into it, which is actually my sixth and final goal. I didn't realize the video went that quickly for me. And that is to create a personal curriculum specifically for winter 2026. So this is my learning journal. I just call it a learning journal because I have language learning in here and some other stuff I'm transferring. And in the very back, if I can find the page, I have something called scholarship where I want to write down notes and almost, I think some people will call this a commonplace book, but I really am using it specifically as a learning tool. And I'm developing a personal curriculum centered around creative entrepreneurship. So I'll have a video about that soon, but on January 13th, I'm going to an event where we are bringing our own books. It's like a silent book club, but they said specifically bring books about personal development. So that is what I'm going to do. So with that said, I think I've kept my promise to keep this video short-ish and hopefully sweet. I really hope that you found some ideas for your own financial reset in 2026, and I'm just excited to hit the ground running. So like I said, if you are royalty, thank you for returning. If you're a distinguished guest, I hope that you like and subscribe so we can go on this bookish adventure together. Until next time, bye!